A quick look at the amount of money that is to be raised for charity for a debate that is never going to happen. I made mention of this yesterday, the big debate between Dr. Peter Hotez and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's never going to happen. I already said that this guy's going to go ahead and he's going to squirrel away and he's going to go ahead and, try to make up any excuse that he can. And lo and behold, that's exactly what he's doing. But here's the amount of money that is being left out there on the table. $2.62 million. And Tate even got outdone by this Jaquan fellow. I don't think any relation to one of the members of Wu-Tang Clan, but $2.62 million could do a hell of a lot of good for people out there. But no. We don't flirt with conspiracy theorists. I will not debate the vaccine with RFK Jr. on Joe Rogan's podcast. It will turn into the Jerry Springer show. Well, why is that? And where did he make this proclamation? Was it on Twitter? No. He went to his echo chamber. He went to mainstream media, and he did so on the Mehdi Hasan show. You all know who Mehdi Hasan is, right? Well, actually, chances are you probably don't. He's got a show on MSNBC, and most notably, the thing that he's most known for, in fact, is eating brains in Africa and losing his mind. But anyways, no, guys, we got this all wrong, right? Vaccine scientist says anti-vaxxers stalked him after Joe Rogan's challenge. Oh my God, I was accosted at my home by a stalker. And we actually, in fact, have the clip of the would-be stalker right here, and I don't really know how aggressive this stuff is, but I've seen this clip circulate before, and it's about a minute long. We can watch it, I guess, and see what the hell's going on. Perhaps he might be blowing this out of proportion, but we can see peak vaccine-infused masculinity on display.
Okay. Oh, are you Peter Hotez?
I am. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Stalker, right? There you go. Are you Dr. Peter Hotez? Oh, nice to meet you.
Hey. So why are you not going to debate RFK on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Oh, come on. That's harassing.
I'm just curious.
What?
Oh, come on. That's harassing. He's asking you a question.
Nothing hostile, just curious.
I haven't said anything one way or the other.
I mean,
I don't know exactly when this video was taken. Must have been after the challenge was thrown out, but then at the same time, he went back and forth multiple times over, so somebody's not being honest. Big shocker there, but he's one of the experts, right?
are you planning on doing it?
He just invited me, so we'll see.
And I think you should, though.
Well, we'll give it some thought.
Okay.
Okay.
And what do you have to say to people who think they were vaccine injured?
Come on.
Anything for them?
Don't come to my house.
I mean, do you have anything to say to people that think? Do you have anything to say to people? Yeah. I mean, do you think vaccine injuries are real, Peter? Peter, it's just a question. Settle the science now. On a safari to go vaccinate more kids?
Oh my God. Okay. Outside of just being like a kind of a dork, should he have stood at his gate and continued to yell at him? Probably not, but to say that that's harassment, even when they were cordial at the beginning, that seems a little bit trumped up. Especially when you're purporting to be this big tough guy online. But hey, you guys do you, okay? We'll just leave the little science man alone and let the good, honest people out there in journalism fight his battles for him, right? So here we have the Washington Post, which is equally as credible as the good doctor. A vaccine scientist says anti-vaccine activist stalked his home Sunday after Joe Rogan and others, including Twitter owner Elon Musk, challenged a scientist to debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an anti-vaccine proponent and Democratic presidential candidate. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and lead with the anti-vax part of it before saying that, yeah, he's running on the Democrat ticket and his poll numbers are actually way better than Joe Biden's, but don't worry about that at all whatsoever. Over vaccine misinformation. Dr. Peter Hotez, a Houston-based scientist, which it's kind of weird how somebody was so quickly able to find his home. I'd imagine it's probably not the most difficult thing to do, or, not the most covert of locations to find. But to say stalked, I don't know, that's kind of blown it out of proportion. But that's not the first aspect of this story that I would say has been blown out of proportion. Peter Hotez, yes, a Houston-based scientist and pediatrician in global health, which is so great based on a whole bunch of his previous statements, because he's very, very pro-vaccine vaccine. A vaccinologist and a neglected tropical disease control spent much of the pandemic debunking misinformation. Oh, really? Do we need to go over some of his old stances? Yeah, online during the coup, and the vaccine targeted the coronavirus. He was also part of a Nobel Prize nominated team of scientists who created an affordable, easy to make coronavirus vaccine. Fantastic. Was that the one that was pushed out by Johnson & Johnson? Don't know for sure. But you know who else helped to develop some coronavirus vaccines? Dr. Robert Malone. But we don't want to talk about him. He's on the wrong side of the science, right? You know, the guy who invented some of the technology. And then don't worry about that, though. Hotez criticized Rogan over the weekend. Was awful for hosting Kennedy. One of the country's leading anti-vaccine advocates was peddled false claims linking vaccines to autism. See, this is what the mass media does. They try to link some of your more obscure takes on things. And the more that I've been looking into the stances of Kennedy, the less that I kind of like him, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. I can understand why Kennedy has something against a gun, but at the same time, like, come on now. It's in the Constitution, for fuck's sakes. And then if it's to be true that he believes in the harm of Wi-Fi signals and 5G, it's like, well, okay, buddy, maybe it's a big fat fucking nope for me, but they take your extreme statements and pair them with your rational statements in order to discredit the validity of your position. And that's what they're doing right here. Yeah, on Rogan's wildly popular podcast last week, in response, Rogan publicly challenged the vaccine scientists to debate Kennedy. Hey, you have a problem with it? Well, you've been on the show before. Why don't you just stop by? No, that would be crazy. Yes, Rogan said that he would pledge $100,000. So many other people have come through as well. And like we seen at the beginning, $2.5 million as of right now. Yes, then billionaires claimed that they would be adding more money, and vaccine skeptics piled on. Yes, the likes of Elon Musk and, other billionaire Mark Cuban shilling his fucking knockoff pharma company. What a fucking dork that guy is. Christ almighty. But here's how Hotez ended up spinning that interaction that we just seen. Did I like it? No, not really. I thought it may have gone a little bit too far. I don't know who the fucking guy is, and, it accosting somebody at their home. Not the best of looks, but then at the same time, was it a terribly hostile interaction? I think we just seen a video out of France right now that I would categorize as actually being harassment, but to each their own. He shoved a cell phone camera in my face and asked if I would debate RFK on Rogan. They were clearly lying. They were clearly lying in wait, I guess. It's very sad. All they were trying to do is I was trying to get a cake for Father's Day. You didn't have anything in your hands, though. He added, the anti-vaccine attacks usually come in waves of aggression, and this one is about as bad as it's been in the last 20 years. Well, it's all kind of centering around one, where there's a lot of questions, and you are not allowed to question the authorities, so that's why so many people have so many questions. So yes, the more of the statements that Hotez made, which, Washington Post isn't going to clip up, of course not. Vaccine proponent Dr. Peter Hotez on Sunday appeared on MSNBC and explained to host Mehdi Hasan why he is declining to debate Democratic presidential candidate RFK Jr. And podcast host Joe Rogan. Rogan offered Hotez $100,000 to a charity of his choice. We already know that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is at it again, Hotez told Hasan, but this time it has caused something really terrible, and that is during the COVID pandemic. I have a new book coming out. Of course you have a new book coming out. And why wouldn't you want to go on a podcast to shill your book? Because you'd have to back up some of the claims that are in your book, and you're not used to that, because during this little fucking snippet that he did, he said one of the dumbest things I've ever heard somebody say. Not even somebody with authority, just the dumbest fucking shit that you're likely to ever hear. Stay tuned for that one. Basically, his book basically says 200,000 Americans needlessly perished because they believed in anti-vaccine disinformation and refused to take the COVID vaccine during our Delta wave and the Omicron wave of 2021, 2022, after vaccines were widely available. How can you quantify or qualify any of those deaths? I'm just wondering, man. So the point is that the anti-vaccine disinformation has always done a lot of damage and harm, but now it is a lethal force within the United States. That's why we have to have that discussion, Hotez said. And I offered to go on Joe Rogan again. I've been on a couple of times, and and have that discussion with him, but just him, because I don't want to be challenged back. Which I think Joe Rogan pressed you the last time you were in person, and you didn't really like what he had to say. But no, that's fine, right? He only wants to speak to authoritative sources, right? Like he just kind of wants to throw around his credentialism. He just wants to keep it within the community, but it's kind of weird. And you can also couple that with the fact that I got a new book out, so, listen to what I have to say. Don't listen to anybody else with competing ideas. And it can, in addition to the $2.6 million financial windfall for your charities, the debate with RFK Jr. will allow you to clarify some of your inconsistencies in your authoritative pronouncements during the pandemic. You can go ahead and watch that 8-minute long clip of him being an abject hypocrite, if you will. Number 2, yes, you can also clarify how your work is funded and the significance of your relationship with Bill Gates, which has drawn a bit of attention over the past 2 years. How basically every time that he'd do a hit on one of the mass media outlets, he'd basically give a big shout out to Bill Gates, who last time I checked, he's got a doctorate in medicine from where exact? Oh, okay, not entirely sure. You could also clarify that your demands for the $50 million endowment for your tropical medicine research, which may notice Bill Gates has a significant interest in. Weird. Because what do we got right here? Oh, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Gates Foundation commits nearly $70 million to help fight neglected tropical diseases. Weird, but no. I don't want to talk to the conspiracy theorist RFK, right? Like, he might be too much of a kook. So let's just go direct to the source, okay? Shout out Majid Nawaz, okay? He's actually a good journalist, and he's been questioning some stuff. And he was also on Rogan's podcast about a year ago at this point in time, pointing out all of the problems with all of the experts and the way that they want to usher in their authoritarian regime. That's another topic for another time. He has it clipped out right here. Mehdi Hasan continues to dig himself deeper into his corporate echo chamber. Contrary to what RFK Jr. and other anti-vax nuts have claimed, vaccines tend to save lives. I just love the weasel words that are in there across the board, and they're not. What's the overwhelming peer-reviewed evidence shows? See, and that's another problem. Like, even going through college and then having to cite your sources by using peer-reviewed articles, it was always interesting to think, okay, so yeah, you've got these scientific papers and you can only cite the authoritative sources, but if the peer review process involves just a bunch of people of the same like-minded principles, all in the same positions, coming to the exact same conclusions, and you don't need to necessarily produce any falsifiable data, well, what exactly are you accomplishing other than just institutional echo chambers? That's always just been an idea in the back of my mind, and then this dumb fuck goes out there and gives up the ghost, and it's like, oh, okay, so we know exactly what time it is. Let's see.
And other anti-vax nuts have claimed there is no connection between vaccines and autism, no connection, no established documented connection between vaccines and serious diseases or mass death. Vaccines tend to save lives.
See, yeah, just listen to all the weasel words that are in there. I don't know, I'm sure there's probably some subsect that's out there that says, oh, the Coof vaccine causes the tism. It's like, I don't really know about that at all whatsoever. It doesn't really seem like that's relevant. We have many other injuries that we can point to as points of concern, especially with the tickaroo in young men. But trying to conflate, oh, there's no connection between mass deaths. It's like, well, that's a point of concern, because you take a look at some mortality rates and some of the numbers that are out there, and you draw some corollaries, and it's like, ooh, those are some points of concern, don't you think? No, don't worry about it, though. It's totally fine. Just listen to the experts, like the people in the media, and the guy who's got the nice white lab coat.
Across the board, do they not? That's what the peer-reviewed evidence overwhelmingly shows, does it not? And people are dying right now from COVID still. But
are they, though? Because I haven't heard the media talk about it, but no, I'm sure it's going to pop up. We got an election season coming around.
Because the evidence on COVID vaccines' efficacy is being ignored or shouted down on social media.
Well, there's three or four moving parts to this. So I'm a vaccine scientist. I make low-cost, patent-free vaccines for low and middle-income countries.
So he makes them. Do you distribute them? And okay, just because your patents or your discoveries are low cost, does that necessarily mean that the companies are going to keep them at low cost? Or realistically, if the government's going to be buying everything up and implementing them on the population, does it really much matter if they're low cost?
We made 100 million doses of, we made 2 vaccine prototypes that led to 100 million doses being administered in India and Indonesia, no patents, minimal strings attached. So we actually
Theoretically, it sounds like a good idea, but, you know, the unintended consequences. Why can't we just ask about that? No, you're anti-science.
found a way to bypass the pharma companies, and yet RFK Jr. incessantly calls me a pharma shill when, if anything, our vaccines maybe kept Pfizer and Moderna out of markets in India and in Indonesia. So I don't understand that piece. And then the reason I got involved with RFK Jr. in the first place is I have an adult daughter, Rachel, who has autism and intellectual disabilities, and wrote.
Oh my God! Play the victim. Oh, I've got a tismy kid. Oh, okay, that sounds like more of a your bummer sperm problem than RFK's issue. But you do you.
Wrote the book "Vaccines Did Not Cause Rachel's Autism," that refuted
No, that would just be a geriatric pregnancy. I don't know anything. Don't know.
all of his false claims, and that's been, you know, he's been kind of after me ever since then, and now he's at it again. And but this time, you know, Ilana, I'm sorry, this time, Mehdi, it's caused something really terrible, and that is during our COVID pandemic. I have a new book coming out that basically says 200,000 Americans needlessly.
Well, I have a new book coming out, and it says that everybody that's subscribed to this channel is going to have more money in their bank account than they did yesterday. They're going to grow an additional 6 inches, and they're going to get another 3 inches on their dick, or their tits are going to grow an additional cup size. That's just what my new book claims, though.
Perished because they believed the anti-vaccine disinformation and refused to take a COVID vaccine during our Delta wave and be.
I remember living through that. I know, right? You know, cast your mind back on that. Me, didn't take a vaccine. It's not like I'm against vaccines. I talked about it yesterday. I think I've got that, hepatitis one, probably polio or whatever, you know, like a serious disease. I don't mind vaccines then, but I'm not somebody who's running around asking my doctor, oh, please, what's the new and latest protection? Please, I need it. I just keep myself in good physical condition, exercise every day, eat a good balanced diet, and that seems to keep me reasonably healthy, okay? Like, I've been sick a couple of times over the past few years. You guys have seen it on camera a couple of different times. I think I might have caught the coof once or twice over. I was pretty tired a couple of times. I've had my voice go out a few, you know, on a couple of different occasions, but yeah, outside of that, I think I've weathered stuff fairly well. I've also had parents who had contracted the coof. I'm not along the same lines as some of the people that think that, no, the virus is all made up. No, it's a very real thing, and even if I didn't have people close to me that got sick, one was very much on the edge of requiring hospitalization, and another one, you know, ended up getting hit reasonably hard without going into details and dragging out the story any longer than it needs to be. But no, it was classified and people were obviously getting sick. You could just go ahead and draw corollaries to the symptoms, the duration of the illness, the way that it's spread, and realize that, oh, this is really nothing that we haven't seen before. It's just the response that everybody's a little bit concerned about. But again, picking out the fringe ideas from the radicals that are out there in order to discredit people asking serious questions.
A1 Omicron wave in 2021-22 after vaccines were widely available. So the point is, anti-vaccine disinformation, it's always done a lot of damage and harm.
And I hate when people say dis and misinformation. Just say liars. Just be bold enough to say liars. But here you are. If you unironically believe this guy, I personally don't believe anybody who combs their hair with a balloon.
Now it's a lethal force in the United States, and that's why we have to have that discussion. And I offered to come and go on Joe Rogan again. I've been on.
Oh, good. You're gonna grace his platform with your presence for a third time. Fantastic.
Couple of times, and have that discussion with him, but not to turn it into the Jerry Springer show with having RFK Jr. on.
Well, so it's sad because I said I'm so fed up with the debate me, because it's not really about the debate. If it was about finding out.
No, it's very much about the debate. You guys just, again, want to spin it out to be something that it's not.
Information, as you said, you've already written about vaccines and autism. You've already spoken and written
The science is already settled.
about COVID vaccines. I think you've been on MSNBC and other channels hundreds of times since the start of the pandemic.
Yes, far more credible outlets than that miserable man on Spotify whose views trump even those of ours throughout the entire day. Why would you grace his platform when you can go ahead and call in here?
I mean, people can
God, and the pause screens just always look so angry from the little guy.
hear your views and the evidence you bring to this, so they're not actually interested in evidence, and it saddened me.
Yeah, they very much are. That's why they're asking for a debate, a conversation. Fuck it, call it whatever you want. Call it a little, a two-ring circus. They'll even bring some, phone books for you to sit on so you could at least look at everybody eye to eye.
Means that you're a man who basically has saved lives abroad with the vaccines you've developed, whereas RFK has contributed to a culture, a vaccine misinformation culture, that has led to the deaths, as you say, of hundreds of thousands of lives, and yet he's the one being celebrated by tech billionaires like Musk and Jack Dorsey, while you're being smeared and defamed. And I would say, I don't know if you've agreed to debate or not. My advice is not to, and people might find that surprising because I wrote a book about debate.
Oh my God. Yeah, just don't do it. It'll be a bad look. We believe the science. We trust the science.
But I just think there's a time and a place for a debate. I don't think a historian of world...
Yes, on MSNBC, not on a podcast. Don't do it then, okay? You're going to be giving credibility to alternative platforms and rendering us completely and totally irrelevant because they would just end up commentating on the snippets that are out there once again. But man, it's envy. Envy is tick in this one.
World War II should debate a Holocaust denier.
Oh my God. I've also seen the comparisons as well. It's like, I didn't anticipate, the big old Holocaust popping up here for a second. It's a joke, folks. But yeah, okay, it's equivalent. But talking to an anti-vaxxer is equivalent to asking somebody to count the teeth or asking questions about how efficient wooden doors are for keeping gases out. It's like, oh my God, bro. Just fucking find a different point of comparison. I've personally seen the ones that are out there. It's like, if Hotez was to grace Joe Rogan with his appearance and go ahead and debate RFK once again, it would be equivalent to asking and having a debate with a flat earther. It's like there are legitimate concerns that are out there, and it really doesn't much matter. You were the first name to pop up because you inserted yourself in this conversation to begin with. So don't try to play victim after the fact, after you got caught trying to snipe on Twitter. But now, people are outside of my gate. One person, one time. Fucking shut up.
That's my analogy here. I don't think these debates between experts and cranks do anything other than elevate the cranks.
But just a little bit more from this little media snippet. Sorry for the downgrade in quality. That's the fucking way that it is. But my personal favorite quote is included in this, and it's just like, wow. So maybe this guy's not exactly the one to go to if you're looking for a pro-vaccine authority, because he's completely lost the fucking plot.
RFK has contributed to a culture, a vaccine misinformation culture, that has led to the deaths, as you say, of hundreds of thousands of lives.
Yes,
and
of
yet
course.
He's the one being celebrated by tech billionaires like Musk and Jack Dorsey, while you're being smeared and defamed. And I would say, I don't know if you've agreed to debate or not. My advice is not to, and people might find that surprising because I wrote a book about debate. But I just think there's a time and a place for a debate. I don't think a historian of World War II should debate a Holocaust denier. That's my analogy.
Oh, Nick Fuentes just down horribly right now, in the opinion of Mehdi Hasan.
Here, I don't think these debates between experts and cranks do anything other than elevate the cranks.
Oh man, unfortunately they cut it off right there. But this clip has the follow-up, which is just it's so great. Brace for impact on this one.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, there are certain things you debate. I understand what a debate about 18th century Enlightenment philosophy is, and debating Rousseau and Bishop Berkeley. I understand what political
Rousseau, no, you're probably more a fan of Derrida and Foucault, but hey, you do you, right?
debates are. But in science, we don't typically do debates. What we do is we write scientific papers, we present our findings in front of a critical audience of our peers to solicit their input and suggestions. But one doesn't typically debate science. Maybe the one-off discussion of evolution versus creationism, and that's
I'll let it finish, but you guys heard that, right?
sort of thing. But that's not what we do in science.
we don't debate ideas in science. Okay, we don't typically do debates. Oh my God. Yo, yep, Hasan encourages Peter Hotez not to debate RFK and laments that Elon Musk is encouraging it. Hotez agrees with him in science. We typically don't do debates. That's called the scientific process, you fucking dork. And that's why he is not, in my opinion, a serious person. And that's why I was always very skeptical of this debate ever occurring. And that's why we're never going to fucking see it, because he is simply a sheltered elitist and doesn't want to engage with anybody who would dare question his authority. Look at all of the words I have on my lab coat, and look at the places that I get invited to. Fucking gross. He'd be more likely to find Fauci probably signing up for this debate, because God knows that he's probably jonesing for a good media appearance. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.